Hello everyone. It's been a really long time. At this point, probably a little over a year since my last video. I've had to sort of put a stop to a lot of the stuff I was doing because it was a very difficult year. Now I'm here and I'm able to walk again. It's been a few months now since I've been able to walk, but it took a while for me to get strong enough to be able to do a daily walk, quite strong walk, going up the mountain behind my house and getting to the top. Even last summer, it was still at the point where I had to stop a lot as I was walking, just so I could catch my breath. I was pretty weak for quite a long time. So I can say that last year was a very difficult year. Maybe one of the most difficult years of my life. But I'm back, and the cancer treatment worked. So far, nothing is showing up, and so I've gotten over that hurdle. It's really fantastic to be able to be back outside again and to be able to do the stuff that I love. And just the main thing is to be alive. Last year in May, after the main treatment, I almost died from complications with diabetes that had to do with the cancer. So just to be here again, to be able to be outside doing stuff that I love and seeing people that I love again, and the pandemic sort of abating since that time too, what a difference it's made. Life feels fantastic. It's really good to be alive. This is the bench that I sat on quite a lot after I'd gotten out of the hospital and I'd recovered for about 2 months or so. I started to do my best to get back in shape in order to be able to be strong enough to just to live. I'm living alone here. My family's far away in America, and at that time Mexico too, and also in Tokyo, so this is quite far away. So I was alone during the entire treatment, so I had to find some way to get strong enough to be able to take care of myself, to buy food and to do all the stuff at home and things like that. So I did my best to get up whenever I could and just go for a walk, slowly get my muscles to be strong enough to be able to go further than just 100 meters, which was all I could do at the beginning. And slowly, every day I came back up here and went up to this point, sat on this bench and looked out across over there. I live in a town called Ashia, and over to the right over here is Kobe, and then over to the left over there is Nishinomiya, and then beyond that is Osaka and Amagasaki. So I'm in the Kansai area. But just, I still remember the first time I was able to make it up to this point, once I started getting better. And it was such a thrill to be able to just get to outside and be among trees and under the sky, and to be able to walk and be strong enough to do all of this. There's so many things that were happening in terms of the recovery. I didn't know that looks like the Japanese politicians are blasting away on their loudspeakers, megaphones. It's that season. Anyway, pardon the noise behind. But I guess being in the whole situation of being unable to move, for instance, I was 3 months I was in the hospital, unable to get out of the hospital because of my condition, and then also not being able to have any visitors at all, not even my friends who live nearby, because of the COVID restrictions. They weren't allowing anybody to visit in the hospital at all. So it was just 3 months of mainly just lying in bed all the time, and the best I could do was to shuffle down the hallway to one of the windows, which I tried to do every day also while I was in the hospital, and look outside the window at the mountains, and just was wishing that I could be out there and to be climbing them. So going through the treatment itself, something, I mean, of course, just like anybody else in this situation, I'd never been through anything like that before. So yeah, it was in some ways a real eye-opener. I can say for certain that I never want to see a hypodermic needle in my life again. Of course, I probably will. Don't know if you can hear me. Wind is really strong today. Yeah, all I can say is that what I was imagining before I went in, when I made the last video, I couldn't have imagined what it would be like to actually go through it. And all I can say now is that I really, really understand what it is that people are talking about when they say that cancer is frightening. It puts you through this suffering that you never imagined you'd actually go through. So what happens now is when I'm outside and I see other people, especially when I see elderly people and they look like they're suffering, all I can do is imagine that probably quite a few of them have been through all stuff like this. And I'll never again look at them lightly, as if what they're going through is something easy. And it's helped me, I guess, to understand other people and to sympathize and empathize more with the things that they're probably going through. It's sad in some ways, I guess, that I'd have to go through something like this to be able to be more empathetic with others. But I guess until you feel stuff like this, there's no way that you're going to actually know exactly what it is. So I guess in some ways I can say it was a good learning experience. There are a lot of emotions connected with this. I'm not sure if I've completely faced the emotions. Um, I guess I've just had to force myself by taking care of myself and having to struggle through it. I just had to force myself to be as strong as I could, both mentally and physically, and not focus too much on the pain and uh, how close I was to not making it. So I don't know. Is that stoicism? Is that just a necessity for having to survive? Is it a good thing? Um, I do have to say that going through the whole thing, one of the things that really, really moved me, and it moved me even when I was talking in my last video, before I went through all of this, what moved me was all of my friends being there, my family being there, people taking care of me, making sure that I was going to make it through, people contacting me, asking me if I was okay. And that probably was one of the deepest things that I've ever been through in terms of connection with people. I tend to be someone who, in some ways, I'm a loner, an introvert in some ways, and so I tend to reject help when it comes. Maybe I should learn how to do that a little bit better. But going through that and having the people help me, having the people show concern, it really let me know I'm not alone. It let me know that I can ask for help when it's necessary. So things, in some ways, you can say things are not as bad as they might seem. And in other ways, you can say that the whole reason for living in communities and being with other people is to be able to be there for each other when it's necessary. And that's the entire reason for having others around you and taking care of you, and that being alone is not always the best thing and not always the best way to be able to get through things. But I got through it, and now I'm ready to get started and move on to new things, try to reorganize my life, and hopefully be able to find a different way of living from what I was doing before. I did lose my job at my university. They laid me off within 2 hours after I told them that I had cancer. So that's been a difficult thing, trying to figure out how I'm going to survive after all of this. And I think I've decided to move on and try a different way of living. And yeah, that's what I want to do from this point on. Hopefully these videos that I make and the illustrations and the writing that I'm putting together will be something that'll keep me alive. And hopefully I'll get outside a lot more and I'll be able to travel a lot more too. So we'll see. wind is so strong at the top that there's no way that my voice could have been heard on the video while I'm talking. So I've come down into this little ravine where the wind is a little bit less strong. Just wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm planning to do from this point. I want something that I've wanted to do since I was about 14 years old. I've always loved being outdoors. I've always loved exploring and just trying to get out and do things like walking or looking at nature or bicycling a little bit later. And when I was 18, I had already planned to travel around the world by bicycle. I had planned it, I had saved up the money for it, and it was my big dream. I never did it. I was sort of convinced that I needed to go to college, and that's what I ended up doing. So I never completely fulfilled my dreams of getting around the world and traveling by bicycle. I have, of course, done a lot of trips by bicycle, and I've done it in quite a lot of places around the world. But one of the dreams that I've always had was to be able to travel around the world. I'm still not sure if I'll ever be able to do it now that I'm in my 60s. But I would still like to be able to travel as much as possible and get out. So what I'm planning to do now with the YouTube channel and with my illustration and writing website and the books that I put out and the courses that I put out, different kinds of things that I want to start doing as much as possible from now on. And all of them have something to do with the outdoors and with nature and with travel. So that's what I want to focus on now. I'd like to start doing instructional things about the outdoors, about bicycling, about hiking, and then also try to get some videos if I can do it. They're a little bit difficult to do, and I'm amazed by what the BBC and other channels that focus on animals. I'd like to be able to do some videos, some documentaries about animals too. And so we'll see what I can do from this point. But if it's possible, I'd like to be able to make all of these things together, be able to bring in enough money so that I can be doing it full time. Hopefully traveling different parts of the world to do all of it. And what I'd like to do is to have my fiancée Angela, who's in Malaysia at the moment, be able to join me, and together we can do some traveling around the world, learning things, different parts of the world, maybe doing some helping, things with volunteering and things, teaching maybe a little bit, different kinds of things, but all while traveling and seeing the world, things that both of us have always wanted to do. And we both figured that there's no other time that we'll be able to do it, so this is the time we have to do it. I don't know how much longer I'll be alive. Just having gone through cancer and having diabetes, the chances of me not being able to make it much longer are high. So I want to take advantage of whatever time I have left to try to do these things. And hopefully be able to get outdoors and be able to do the traveling around the world. That's what I want to do with the rest of my life, and try to make it interesting, make it fun, try to not listen so much to what other people advise is the best way to live. I guess getting to this point in my life and having gone through all this that I did, and doing a lot of work, things that I never wanted to do, just to be able to get by and just to survive. Yeah, those are important. Money is important, and being able to take care of yourself is important. But there's only so much time in your life, and there's one point point where you just have to make the decision, I'm going to do these dreams that I've had for a really long time and not listen to what everybody says anymore. So that's my update. I'm going to try to make the videos a little bit more interesting from now on, doing some trips and doing some instructional stuff. I hope all of you who have been there waiting for a year and who were there also before when I was making the other videos, thank you for coming back and thank you for staying with me. I hope I can make videos and talk about things and show things that are interesting for you and that maybe make a difference in your life. Thank you for being there, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Something to guide your way, even if you're too scared to follow. There's a light in each new day. If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know you'll have a hand to hold. As we wait on the timing, together we find it. There's more than one way to go home. I know you're tired of this pattern. 1 up and 3 below. When you're chasing after what matters, your heart knows where to go. If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know you'll have a hand to hold. As we wait on the timing, together we find it. There's more than one way to go home. If the moon gives up rising, the sun stops it shining, you know